Efex Pro 2 has been developed with some advanced algorithms and advanced tonality controls never before seen in black and white conversion software. What that means is it gives us the ability to do some advanced controls and to fix some things that really have been a bit of a challenge. For example, in this image you can see there are some areas right here in the center, for example, that have some real problems as they convert into a black and white. So let's go after those a little bit and see what we can come up with. Let's go first to our single image view. And at the same time, I'll also move the preset browser out of the way to give myself a little more real estate here. First things first, let's go to the brightness area, and I can click on the expand or collapse triangle, and I can also click on the word brightness to access those controls. And you can see some of the new controls that we have: highlights, midtones, shadows. I'll also go down to this new slider called dynamic brightness, and I'm just going to move to the left, and you can see that it's bringing down the brightness levels throughout the image, with the exception of the highlights and the brightest areas. Those are staying the same, and this is which is really what makes this a unique algorithm, because we now can control adaptively sort of the difference between highlights and shadows without affecting a uniform darkening across the entire image. We can also come down to the contrast area of control, and you can see these new sliders: amplify whites, amplify blacks, and soft contrast. What this does is these amplified blacks and whites allows us to accentuate the highlights and shadows of each area or subject sort of dynamically, and it results in increasing the presence of black and white throughout the image without any loss of detail. Let me take this up a little bit higher and watch this as I bring up the blacks, and you can see how rich this becomes. And then finally, this next slider, soft contrast, does something that's very unique. As I start moving this to the right, look at the details sort of bring up more and more and more depth and dimension. It's an interesting slider in that, for me, it looks to me as if it's giving us a much more pronounced foreground and a midground and a background, if you will, and it sort of identifies and separates those areas. It's a really unique element of control that we've never had before. Let's compare where we came from. Here's our before image, and here's our after. Now, if you'd like to compare with the default black and white that came into the software when we opened the file, let's go to our history browser, and I can take this selector and bring it down to my neutral, and this will compare and allow me to compare and see side by side, or with a split preview, our before and after from our default setting.